Services games in Oviedo, Florida. But today, we are here with round number 5. This is actually a really high-stress round for these players. This is going to have a make-it-or-break-it round, if you will. So definitely want to win this one. We're actually seeing Greg, once again. We've already seen him on stream today. Camera just loves him, ready to see him once again.
It was a really impressive show out earlier, and I'm glad to see it again. I kind of wanted to see it again. I won't lie. I wanted to see it against a purple. I'm sorry, purple. A red-blue deck, which makes purple if you combine them together.
There you go.
But I wanted to see them against a red-blue deck because I wanted to see kind of that matchup. But now we have a red-purple deck, so we do get to see how it fares against some of those ruby colors that are so daunting.
And this is like a very interesting Ruby Amethyst list because it's going just pretty heavy and straightforward on its lines. We got 4 Bee Prepared, 4 Crab, 4 Goat, 4 Rabbit, 4 Rafiki, 4 Castle, 1 Spellbook, which I think is actually a really, really good choice. 4 Medusa, 3 Medusa and 3 Dragon, so going 1 less on the Medusa, which is a very interesting choice, and then 2 Lady Tremaine.
I think that's a pretty interesting list, but I also think that the sorcerers, like you said, is super important to have because sometimes you need that extra little bit of sneaky lore. But over here on Greg's list, we have a little bit more of that the kind of, I would say, the straightforward package there, other than the Pinocchio we talked about earlier. Only having 1 Pinocchio, I want him to have 2.
Gonna be able to go a little bit more aggro here. We got the Merfolk on turn 1, Rafiki, and now he's just simply going to quest and play down Snake and bounce. I mean, that's a pretty great start for Greg.
I say that's the top play from earlier. He did it earlier. He did it again now. The line he obviously likes to go. I'm curious. He has Flynn Rider in here. I'm curious how he likes to use the Flynn.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see because there's a couple different ways you can do. Like, there's the discard strategy, or you can just go straight aggro, which is going to be a choice, you know?
Definitely.
We got the Pinocchio, though, like you were saying. Perfect combo for both these players. They have pretty good starts here, so it's going to be exciting to watch to see which deck can come out on top at the end. I do think the Sorcerer's Spellbook is much more useful in slower matchups, but I feel like Emerald Amethyst is a little bit on the faster side. So I'm not sure if that's going to necessarily be relevant this match, but we shall see.
For sure.
Big Ursula coming out. Going to threaten to sing some songs.
He can listen up to 3 ink. Quest and bounce, putting it back to his hand, able to use it later, which is going to be good. He won't be able to hide anything. Greg, anything he plays is going to be pretty much vulnerable. However, if he has a chance to attack that Ursula, if he uses the Ursula, he's gonna kill it, and he does for the 4 cards off of Friends.
Which I feel like, and he drew another big Ursula off of it.
Oof.
2 big Ursulas.
Oof.
So I mean, you're happy to get rid of that snake too. You know what I mean?
100%.
Gonna ink 1 of them. So and he plays all 4, I believe. Ursula, or does he play 3?
He plays 4.
Yeah. So.
Ursula, Deceiver of All.
Well, that's the Deceiver. Does he play?
It's Deceiver is the little one, and Deceiver of All is the big one.
Oh, that's so confusing.
It is very confusing.
I knew Deceiver was this little one. Deceiver of All. That seems like a.
And it's not a shift target, which is crazy.
Interesting choice, but all right.
And Ravensburger, if you're hiring anybody, let me know. I'll go over there. I'll make sure to proof some of those things last second.
Gonna use Snake here on the Merfolk. Take that out. Just so the Fox bounced, which was a good play from Greg. Gonna ink the Goat here, play Chernobog's Followers, and just pass.
Greg has just a little side note here. Both players have pretty interesting sleeves. I like those, but Greg winning the shirt battle.
We got that.
I think.
Yes, I think I have to agree. We got a little trade there, Madam Mim into Madam Mim. A lot of thought. Like, the game is becoming more and more complex with every set. These players gotta think through so many possibilities. Gonna play out the Rabbit and draw off of it. Inking the 3rd Ursula, so he only has the 1 Ursula left in deck. Chernobog gonna be another great option here for Greg just kind of going head to head with these smaller guys. You know, he is going to draw from the questing. But I think ultimately what you want to really focus on here, right, if you're Jeff, is again getting out those cards like the Queen's Castle, making sure you have cards to draw. You don't want to run out of steam, right?
No.
Just keeping an eye on what things Greg has out. Try to get out those mini stylish surfers, because I'm noticing, again, does not play evasive Tinkerbell. It's really hard for these decks to handle something like a mini stylish surfer.
Yeah.
That can put in work. Just digging for those pieces. I do see he has a Medusa in hand, so we have some removal on Jeff's side. All right.
So it looks like both of these players are not only trying to make sure that they don't give any unfavorable trades or anything like that, of course, like always, but they're trying to just, how do I get that advantage on the other person when they're using my same color? The mirror is always, I think, a little bit more tricky, a little bit more complicated to navigate, even if it's only a partial mirror. It's a half mirror.
And I think Greg is absolutely correct to target the Queen's Castle there. Again, Crab, one of the best cards that we're seeing. You want to get that out of there. You don't want to let Jeff draw any cards. Increase the chances that he's just going to run out of steam here. Drawing your own card off the Maleficent. And Greg's in a really great spot here. I think you're right. I'm really liking this purple-green color combination.
Yeah. I do hope that Greg gets through to the final or close to the final, so we can see him play possibly that popsicle deck. Because I would love to see just how that fares against that. I guess in my mind it feels like the ramp of blue really supercharges Ruby, to where maybe the Ruby Amethyst package falls to the A tier, while the Ruby and the Sapphire package falls into the S tier.
Yeah.
You know, temporarily.
Okay, we got Pinocchio gonna tap down Medusa.
Gonna go ahead and quest for one, probably to fox it. Yep, so he's gonna fox to take out the Medusa.
He's gonna bounce Crab, and then is he gonna attack in? I think that's the assumption, but
yeah, Jeff kind of assumed right there, grabbed, and then
so he's using the Crab's ability to bump up Maleficent and trade there.
Yeah, keeping the higher cost character, higher attack character, higher willpower character. That's the right play for sure.
Plus just future bounce chaining.
Yep.
It is like
Ooh,
probably what we're gonna see. Okay, no, he's gonna bounce the Pinocchio.
I love that. He's using that one Pinocchio he has, and he's using it like he's got four.
Yeah.
As an uninkable card, that's a really strong thing for Greg to say. He's like, hey, I may not see it, but if I see it, I'm going to know how to use it real well.
And I think players are starting to realize, like, if you have a big enough bounce engine, you can afford to play a few less Pinocchios.
Yeah.
Really solid play from both players here. Just a lot of back and forth, but it looks like Jeff is down to one card. He's probably in a little bit of a top deck mode. He does have the rabbit at least to help him draw a little bit of cards, but we got a really strong setup in Greg's hand right now. We got a Queen's Castle, we got a goat, we got a crab, we got a rabbit. A lot of options here with that full suite, with the Madame Mim Merlin suite in hand.
I mean, I haven't even. Has he played a green card? It's all been purple.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he really is leaning.
Yeah, he did play Ursula.
The Ursula, that's right. Okay, I was like, but it just shows, like, people say, like you said, the bounce package is so not. It's so the opposite of dead. It's so hot right now.
People saying that it's on the way out is just wishful thinking.
Yeah, that's the copium. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Merlin and Madame Mim are just honestly, they are broken, and as more cards that have triggers come into play, come out, they're just going to continue to get even more broken.
For real.
They are so versatile, and I think they will be used for every day that they're legal in the standard format.
Yeah. And that kind of bringing up the point of the ban list, and are they going to do things? Are they going to ban put certain cards there and stuff like that? I do think certain cards might need a limit. You know, maybe not a ban.
Well, I think if you were going to do something like that, Snake would be one of the first cards to consider.
Really?
Snake is just really overpowered.
Interesting.
Yeah. At least in my opinion, it's just so it's like a 2-cost bouncer that's really, really strong.
Yeah.
Gonna ink the goat here. Friends on the other side with Rabbit, which is again, just the number of cards that this deck is capable of drawing is just so terrifying.
Nice.
Queen's Castle.
Double Queen's
Queen's Castle, ladies and gentlemen.
Ah, man.
That's instantly a clock. I mean, Greg's already at 7 lore. That's 4 passive automatically. That's 14 damage you have to deal just to deal with that situation without even touching the 4 characters he has on board.
Very interesting to see. Greg has answers in his deck, but not for everything all at once. And now even the Be Prepared is so less. Or, I'm sorry, Jeff. The Be Prepared is so less tempting to use because now you still have the 2 Queen's Castles on the field. Yikes.
I think if you can find a crab plus Be Prepared in some situation, something like that. But I don't even know how much ink Jeff is working with right now.
Yeah,
Where is Jeff's inkwell, by the way?
It's to the left of his cards.
Got
At
you.
the top of the screen. He does keep it in a stack. I played with Jeff before. He keeps it in a stack. He's going to scoop.
Yeah,
So
that's double Queen's Castle in a full board. It's like, what do you do in that situation?
you just scoop.
You
just
scoop,
shake
yeah, you
hands.
scoop.
Yeah, that, I mean, because realistically, Jeff knows that if he doesn't have that game, it's going to come down to 3 games for himself if he's going to have any chance. So I need to give myself 20 minutes per game to have a chance. I know my deck. I know it's not super fast, so I know I need to kind of do that. But here's the thing. Greg's deck is super fast. So
Yeah.
Greg's deck has so much aggro, like spice to it, where it's like he can get up to 10 lore by turn 6, no problem.
Yeah,
And that puts a big pressure on Jeff to have the right answer at the right time.
exactly. And the more fast that a deck is, the less time you have to react, like you're exactly what you're just saying.
Yeah.
I think a lot of players probably built their decks to go against these big Titanic Steel Sapphire decks and Ruby Sapphire decks, but you can't forget about things that move a little bit faster. You still got your Amber Steels and your Emerald Amethysts and your aggro decks in the format. It's just a balancing act.
Yeah.
One small note, one other great thing about having Greg play again is we get to see his beautiful shuffling.
Very
Yes.
true. Very true. Definitely.
Players mulliganing here. This is an interesting matchup to have to mulligan for, too. Because I think, Jeff, you have to pick up the pace, right? So, like, you're digging for specific pieces of your... See, it looks like he mulligan for 6 there.
Yeah. He definitely has a certain line he's shooting for.
Mhm.
And, I mean, he knows how... both players are really... I mean, this is a nerve-wracking game. Both players are in a position where they've already lost one. If they lose another one, the chances of them getting into that top 4 are super slim. It's very, very unlikely. So, they both really need this win.
It's a lot of pressure, but comes with the territory.
The waterfall shuffle is what it's called. I like that.
All right, turn 1. Rafiki from Jeff. Let's see what happens.
So you got the Pinocchio in hand. Possibly does have the Mini Surfer. He didn't use the Mini Surfer last match. Maybe a little pressure would be good for put on Greg.
Ink the Yzma. Got Chernobog's followers.
Not his go-to turn 1.
No, definitely not. Rafiki's definitely going to be a lot better in this situation, but I see it. I see an Ursula Deceiver in hand.
Definitely against Ruby Amethyst, one of those cards where you want to wait a little bit to pull that trigger because you pull it too early, they can still draw into it by the 5 more turns until Be Prepared. But he threw it down. He doesn't have another 2 turns.
Again, the
Knowledge
song is almost like the sprinkles and cherry on top, right? Like getting that information is priceless. And I just saw too many surfers. That's scary.
Especially when you're Greg and you have 0 answers for evasive. Now, does Jeff know that he has 0 answers for evasive? He should have seen that last turn, and maybe he did, because that right now it's gone out. I mean, realistically, what options does he have to clear that Mini Surfer?
I mean,
he can bounce it away.
Yeah, your bounce, and then he doesn't play. Yeah,
he's got Cloud Kicker.
Neither of these colors have spot removal, which is like probably Emerald Amethyst's biggest weakness, right?
Yeah.
You have bounce, but beyond that, you have no real answers to stuff like that.
And the Pinocchio against the Ursula Deceiver is a real... You love to get that value out of your Rafiki.
That's why I'm a big proponent for playing the evasive Tinkerbell in green.
Yeah.
The 4 cost, because like you really have no answer to Mini Surfer.
100%. I think that one would really go a long way for him right now, because otherwise I don't know what he's gonna do. I mean, he does. He has the 3 Maleficent Sorceress, the 1 draw 3 drop. I would almost switch that for the Tinkerbell to give him a chance against.
He inked the other mini surfer. I don't know if that's the right choice personally.
Definitely don't think Jeff understands that he doesn't have any answers for evasive. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done it.
Mm-hmm. But still, Jeff in a very comfortable position here. He has the Cusco and can draw off that if his opponent tries anything. He has a Pinocchio on play that he can bounce back to his hand to do more shenanigans that way. He's freely questing for two lore a turn, and he has Rafiki there if his opponent plays down any kind of threat and tries to take out that Cusco. So really, Greg is really just gonna have to like try to find something. I see he has friends, he has Fox, he has some options. He could quest with the Chernobog's followers and draw that way. But again, we're still really early. These players only have 3 ink in their inkwell.
There you go. So that's the only thing you can do with that mini, and it's definitely important to do it when you can. But
and again, it's kicking the can down the road, right? It's
Yep.
not actually giving you a solution to the problem.
Yep.
Your only hope is to just aggro out your opponent at that point with enough bounce that you can manage to bring out the win underneath all that.
Definitely. Jeff gonna go ahead and play the rabbit, getting a card draw off of that. Inking the Maleficent Dragon to play another Rafiki. Ooh,
And it's
strong.
just gonna turn sideways. I mean, I think that is a great strategy here. Just utilize, because if you're Greg, you don't want to trade, right?
No.
So you're
You want
feeling
to make your opponent for sure do all that trading.
He went up 2, right?
Yeah, he went up to. So Jeff is at 5 lore now, which is a much stronger start than he had to the last game. Taking out the Pinocchio.
I think that's a perfectly fine decision.
And the Rafiki. And the Cusco, giving the Jeff a little bit of card draw, but that clears the majority of his board. He's going to lose out somebody coming up, but that's not...
I mean, that was actually really good because he was able to wipe out a lot of the board, not having to trade, just taking some damage here or there. So he was able to stabilize. It's just this is a lot of like this is a waiting game here at the beginning. It feels like there's a lot boiling underneath the surface. But that bounce, who's he gonna bounce? Ursula, I'm assuming, or Kit?
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
good one.
it's one of those two.
Definitely helps him with that mini
Takes
that
the
he knows
kit.
coming
Takes the
back.
kit. Yeah, I think that is the right choice.
The quick play is to get the Curse Merfolk back and play it again, but I just think that the kit against I think he knows it's his only answer to mini.
Because like Jeff can't comfortably play Minnie Mouse here. I think inking away the other one was not the call, but
No, I think he might be realizing how important those are soon enough. There's not much more option he has right now. He's trying to figure out if he wants to quest, stand still, or attack. I think attack is definitely the right play here.
well, if you're Greg, you have to eventually like it's a key to determining when do I turn on the aggro, right?
Yeah.
Because if you wait too long and Jeff gets up to 7 lore, now you have to worry about be prepared at a moment's notice, especially with the recovery that Ruby Amethyst has, the ability to draw a bunch of cards. That's not necessarily the thing you want to see as the Emerald player. So really you want to utilize these turns to just eventually go aggro. It's just a matter of when. And I think it was absolutely the right call to try to have to wipe out some of Jeff's board state. But again, we could be seeing Greg go into top deck mode if we're not careful.
I am noticing
He has friends in hand, though, so we're okay.
I am noticing a lot of players kind of have their own order of operations for how they do things,
Mhm.
and I think that going into the first official Lorcana challenge coming up in Atlanta, I think a lot of players are going to have to tune that up because
Yeah.
I think that is going to. I think there's going to be a few salty players that get DQ'd for some silly stuff. Because I'm seeing a lot of little things that if the wrong person sees them at the wrong time, they're gonna get called out for it.
There's Kit kicking back Minnie Mouse once again, like we expected.
Yeah. So I do think that using the same practice.
Oh,
you're
is he gonna bounce the Kit again?
Oh, he better. He can still bounce the kit though with the.
He's gonna bounce the Fox to bounce the Kit.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I do like that. 'Cause
No, but I do think not just with getting DQ, but also just doing well in the tournament. Like your sequencing is what's gonna make or break you in a game like this,
Yeah.
right? So I think it's just a matter of practice, and the game's going to do nothing but get more complex, right? This is the least complex the game is ever going to be.
Definitely.
And you kind of have to enter with that mindset, right? Like, there's going to be certain formats, assuredly, in the future that aren't as complex, but in general, the more cards you have to deal with, the more you have to think about. And I think we're seeing that now in this tournament. A lot of players are being very careful and very particular with their moves. And it's just a part of a necessary part of the game now as it gets more and more complex and these combos get crazier and crazier.
100%.
There's just so many things you have to take into consideration. Again, if you really think about the fact that besides something like a kit, you really have no answer to evasive characters in green purple, maybe don't ink the Minnie Mouse, you know?
Yeah.
So just little things like that.
Especially if you haven't seen a Pascal, because Pascal Crab is a good way to
Pascal's
get rid
really your only other answer to
Yeah.
evasive, unless you're playing something like a Tinkerbell,
Yeah.
which again takes a lot of commitment and can slow your deck down. So it's a balancing act.
Yeah.
Gonna quest with the Kit Cloud Kicker. I don't know if he has another answer. Oh, he's just gonna bounce it. That's why.
Got it. Oh, but he's gonna
bounce
play
with the
that.
snake.
Yeah, okay.
Double bounce.
All right. Definitely good.
It's a bounce house up in here.
This is like Tigger's favorite deck.
Nice one. I like that.
All right, so now Greg, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he's got 7 ink. That's a be prepared amount of ink. Is he going? Does he have it? Does he
Again,
need to play it?
that's the trouble. Like,
Is it worth?
if
playing?
you have it, you don't have it. But like, it's really troublesome now because like you can't overcommit to your board now if you're Greg.
Yeah.
If you go too wide, and he pulls out the be prepared, you're just really in a tough spot. So it's a matter of figuring that out. Again, this is where something like an Ursula Deceiver can be super helpful to let you know if your opponent has that.
Yeah. All right, going for card draw over everything else,
which I think is the right play, especially like if Jeff can get like a castle or two established, like the card advantage is just going to be overwhelming.
So puts the Cusco down, Quest with the mini because she's evasive, and then leaves everything else ready to go. Now Greg is primed to. I mean, they're very close in lore, but I mean, Jeff is slowly getting that better board state, more control on the board. He still has more in hand. He's got the ruby stuff. This is where Greg should be a little worried. He should be in the lead right now.
Yeah.
2 more for Greg, so now they're tied up. What kind of bounce shenanigans is going to happen now? He does have the goat. He has the Mother Knows Best. He has a Kit Cloud Kicker. I think you might have actually a couple Kit Cloud Kickers. You definitely want to kit the Minnie Mouse, I would say.
Yeah, I think, I mean, Minnie Mouse is going to be your ever-present threat, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think you have to bounce it with the kit. I think that is still the play. So he's going to quest for 2.
So it puts him at 10.
So you also got the goat. So like you could also, I see the argument for trying to go a little bit more aggressive because again, like we've been saying, like be prepared, anything like that. Because let's be honest, even if you try to like be conservative and not go too wide and he plays the be prepared, that's tough to come back from. So I can see the argument for just going aggressive and hoping he doesn't have it for the next 2 turns and then winning that way. I mean,
definitely.
Because now if he doesn't have it, if you're Jeff, you have to start considering trades.
Yep.
Because he's also at 8 lore. He's not too far behind, especially if you get a couple quests in with that Minnie Mouse. Like, really close game here. And we got the dragon on the Merfolk.
Oh, that's rough. I mean, you definitely don't get the card discard, which is great, but I mean, such a small
and I have
body.
to think the discard is extremely relevant to why he chose that.
For sure.
I mean, he's down to 1 card.
Yeah.
I couldn't see what it was. Did you?
Not this one. Yeah, for sure. It's super important. He's gonna throw both of them in, grab another card, another 2 cards because they're both out. That was good.
Llama and Rabbit. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, now look, you're questing for 2, you're at 10, and then...
And you pretty much cleared your opponent's board. In your hand, what do you got?
14 lore on board, yeah, you're putting your opponent on a clock right away. I mean, Goat is no fun to be against, but yeah, you just got to keep bouncing that Minnie Mouse.
He's got another kit in hand too. So Kit Cloud Kicker is obviously Greg's answer to Minnie Mouse, which I do like. It's not bad. It just doesn't like fix it.
Paired with the discards, like if you play something like a Mother Knows Best in your deck, or a like a what's that card? Lucifer.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like you can combo it that way. Oh, that is a good play by Jeff there. The double castle. That is pretty brutal.
Yep. And then using the Maleficent to take out the goat. No bounce shenanigans going to happen there, which is really smart because that Mother Knows Best. That would have been a little bit of a swing, a 3-lore swing right there. That would put him at 18 with the other two. Mim. Oh.
And that's the thing. Like, yeah, he has the kit and the Mother Knows Best in hand, but like locations, again, we keep coming back to it. And I think Jeff's decision to play a spellbook is equally as intelligent. You're going to end up in these grindy situations where things are just kind of, there's so much control in the format and so many different flavors of control and mid-range in the format that you're going to end up with these kind of stalemate, stally situations where if you have that location on board and it resolves and it can't be destroyed, you're just going to passively win the game.
Yeah. Oh, another goat.
Though Greg is kind of closing the gap here with all these goats.
For real.
He has a Mother Knows Best in hand. This is really, really close.
Yep.
He has lethal next turn.
Yeah.
So Greg has lethal next turn. So it's a matter of what can Jeff do? He has to remove the goat now. Yep, there. So there we go.
17. He's going to use Mem to get rid of Kit Cloud Kicker. We're going to move some. We're going to move anybody?
Just going to kill. I mean, I think that's a very good move.
There we go.
Now move.
And pass. All right. We got a game here, y'all. We're close.
Does Greg have another go?
2, 4, 6, 7.
He quests for 18. He has the goat. No way. He had it. And he has the Mother Knows Best. Wow, that's 20. And that's 2 games for Greg. Greg clutches round number 5 out of nowhere with the second goat in hand.
Oh my God.
Absolutely deserved. What a fantastic game from both